Hey everybody, welcome to Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, music videos, all kinds of fun gaming content. My name is Asheninity. I'm here as always with Cybsidian.
Hello everybody.
And we have Madqueen with us. She's becoming a regular feature on this show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right, so welcome to December. It is December 6th, 2017. Game Awards happening tomorrow, and our live coverage of that is going to be starting at the same time as the live broadcast. So that's 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Triple S League channel. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing a live coverage of E3 this past summer, and now... Was it in the summer? Shoot, when was E3?
It's in the summer.
It is in the summer. Okay, I just couldn't remember what month it was in. So yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun covering E3 this past year, and so we're looking forward to doing that again. We're going to be... Madqueen's going to join us for live coverage, live commentary of that, and we are going to be keeping track of what our votes are, what our predictions are for the winners of the different categories. So we're going to go through those actually all right now and kind of do a bit of a year in review of gaming as we go. So we're going to be... it's going to be a lighter show today after the train wreck of talking about E3 and microtransactions all this, this past month. And then...
EA.
What did I say?
E3.
EA. Sorry.
Clearly someone's tired.
Oh, I gotta slam myself.
I am glad that I'm not the only one here who's, a little tired and sick today.
All right, so yeah, let's just start going through the categories of the Game Awards contenders. If you want to follow along while we're doing this, you can go to thegameawards.com/awards. And that's the order that we'll be going through them. So first, of course, Game of the Year, probably the most interesting category that a lot of people are interested in seeing which game comes out on top for Game of the Year. So the contenders, we have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn. And
so here's the interesting thing. Oh, crap. Okay, hold on.
I am the only one here who is shocked that Battlegrounds is on this list.
There we go. Well, it's kind of funny because Battlegrounds is on the list, and it's not even been officially released.
Yes.
So
I mean, what's
so they kind of get to put it out this year, and then they also kind of get to most likely put it out next year.
So it'll be on the list next year again. Well, it certainly had a lot of cultural impact. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's been really, really big, and it's got a pretty big, it's got almost 2 million or so concurrent players every week, so that's really big. Mm-hmm. But then you got to look at all of these games. So these are all they're really up there. They're really this is a tough choice this year.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I must confess that I'm not really objective here because Horizon Zero Dawn is in my top 5 of all time. But I believe that they're going to be very competitive with Zelda. Mostly because what Zelda is, that for the game itself. Because Horizon Zero Dawn is a style of game that we are not very used to. It's very original. I'm so glad that they did this game.
And this is my point in my voting. I'm voting for Persona 5 to win the list. I think that Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely probably the better game. But I think as far as the voting goes, as far as who's going to actually win it, I think the Zelda and Super Mario, having them both out in the same year, I think that splits the votes for Nintendo fans. And so, because you can only vote for one or the other, every day, I think most people are going to end up splitting that vote, and I think that Persona 5 or PUBG might actually break through on that, because PUBG has a bigger audience that's playing now, whereas at the beginning of the year, when Horizon Zero came out, there was, more people were playing it back then. Now people have been a year in gaming is some players
really,
it's 5 years ago.
The DLC was out not long ago. The Frozen Wilds DLC.
Yeah, but it didn't move as many sales as they were expecting. So I think that people just haven't gotten around to playing it or picking up the expansion because they can pick that up whenever they want, right? So I think that, unfortunately, as for timing, games that are released at the beginning of the year don't do as well in the awards compared to games that were released, right before, or like a month or two before the voting. If you have a game that comes out like a few days or a few weeks before voting, then that also really hampers the ability for the game to get votes, which is why I think Odyssey is not going to do well. I think Zelda will probably beat it out, but just because it was out a lot.
So you are not voting the game you like the most, but you are voting the game that you think is going to win.
No. My vote is my vote. My guess as to which is going to win, so that we can win the pool here, that's completely different.
We haven't discussed what the winner gets yet. But probably nothing. Just gloating rights, I guess. But yeah, so we'll be tracking our prediction of what's actually going to win, which can be different from what you're actually voting for. So, yeah. Along the same vein, I think that either Odyssey or Horizon Zero Dawn are going to take it. Legend of Zelda was big, but it's been out for a while now, and I think that it is still selling very well. So I could be wrong, but I think Super Mario Odyssey is going to win out over Legend of Zelda just because it's fresher and newer.
Well, that's the other thing you have to remember, is that you also got to consider the voting age. So some of these games that cater to a really young audience, like Mario, the average age of the Mario player, I think is I don't have stats on this, but I'm going to assume that it's going to be, the average is going to be a lot closer to like 10 or 11 than the average age of the Zelda player, which I think probably was closer to like 17, 18, because everybody played that game. Whereas mostly just, my young nieces and nephews and the kids are the ones who are playing Odyssey, and those kids don't tend to vote very much.
Okay, so what's your prediction, Simon?
So my prediction is Horizon Zero probably deserves the win. Zelda is probably neck and neck with it as far as it deserving the win. It really did change the system. It was a little bit buggy, and some mechanics they had didn't, weren't as much loved as, they were hoping for. So between that, I think Zero will probably deserves it more. But because of the splitting in the vote and because of the release time, I'm gonna say that Persona 5 is probably gonna win. Okay.
Madqueen?
I expect Horizon Zero Dawn to win, mostly because I believe it's the best game on this list. But I agree that it's going to compete with The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda has a name for the years of the series that Horizon doesn't have. So I'm not sure, but I expect Horizon to win. I hope.
I'm going to put my prediction on Super Mario Odyssey. Because
and what it'll be.
I think there's a serious nostalgia factor. And a lot of old school N64, like Super Mario 64 fans are really loving that game. So we'll see.
I'm gonna bet now that we've kind of cornered the market on those four, that PUBG will win by landslide. Like
I kind of if PUBG
now
wins,
that we've jinxed ourselves,
PUBG actually could win this base because it is community voting, and they've got a large community that can vote every day. That it might just pull it off. You never know. But let's move on to the next category. So, best game direction, awarded to a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And so we've got Wolfenstein 2, Resident Evil 7, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Horizon Zero Dawn. So, what are your thoughts about those?
I believe that if Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't win this category, the people voting have no idea what the standards of design are. Because I'm really serious about that. I mean, one thing is your personal taste. You can rather killing Nazis than killing robots. I can understand that. But the complexity of the design of Horizon Zero Dawn is much bigger than the other four together. I mean, it's impossible that any other game beats Horizon Zero Dawn in design.
Well, one of the things that people tend to factor into this particular one is where the previous games in the series has gone. So this is really affected. This really does affect the voting in a good amount of cases here. So because Horizon Zero Dawn is a new game, then when people are like, "Oh, what's the best thing that's headed in the right direction?" People tend to pick things that are older. So I think in this case, the heavy contenders are all going to be the newer in the series games. So Resident Evil, Mario, and Zelda. And I think Zelda will take this one for sure. Even though the direction, like you said, is very good, but because it's its first game, I don't think it'll take it, even though it probably deserves the win.
I see where you're coming from, and Zelda definitely did have an innovation for its series. It went in a new direction, but on the other hand, it was very much Legend of Zelda Skyrim. So
which people loved, by the way.
Well, people love Skyrim, yes, but in terms of just overall,
they love the fact that it went that direction. I think that's the.
Oh yeah, no, I loved Breath of the Wild. Don't get me wrong, but I'm predicting Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing Madqueen's on the same page as me there.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
And I loved also the design of Wolfenstein 2 and of Resident Evil, and the Legend of Zelda also has a great design. And Super Mario, I know exactly what it's doing in this category, but I believe that all are great.
Hey, come on!
But...
Mario has nipples now. That's talk about innovation.
That's innovation.
Talk about innovative for Nintendo. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is that these are all really well-designed games, which is why they're all in the category. So it's like sometimes you're just like predicting that this one has a slight margin over the other one. So that's it can be a tricky choice sometimes. So next we've got Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and a Narrative Development in a Game. So we've got What Remains of Edith Finch, Nier Automata, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Wolfenstein 2, and Horizon Zero Dawn. What do you know?
I think Horizon Zero Dawn will take this one. I think that Nier Automata suffers from the same thing as Horizon Zero Dawn does, is that they're both released early on in the year, but I think that evens the playing field for them. So I think the general fan base is going to connect with Horizon Zero more than Nier Automata, because again, as far as the narrative goes, when I talk to people who played these games, they understand the plot and the story of Horizon Zero Dawn, and they were excited to get into it and to understand it. When I talk to people about the narrative in Nier Automata, most people who've played it can't really explain what the story or the narrative is. So I think Horizon Zero Dawn will take this one, but I think we have to be careful about the Hellblade coming out as a surprise winner. So
it could, and
we should, yeah. So that's my vote. Probably most likely Horizon Zero Dawn, but we could have a surprise win by Hellblade. I don't think What Remains and Wolfenstein 2 are going to contend in this particular category.
I'm not sure I agree about Wolfenstein 2. I don't know that it would necessarily win, but I think it has a decent chance just because of the alternate history telling, the alternate history storyline that it has, and the narrative of its predecessors in the series were very good. Also, the political climate might contribute to that as well. I don't know.
But it also can contribute in a negative way, not only in a positive.
It might.
I think it will contribute exactly as Madqueen said. I think it'll contribute in the negative way, and that's one of the main reasons why I don't think I don't think it'll win this one. In fact, I really don't think Wolfenstein will win much of any category, unfortunately, because of that.
I'm a little surprised to see it at all in some of these categories, but
you cannot keep a major game of Bethesda this year out of the Game Awards. I mean,
true.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Horizon Zero Dawn for this one.
But well, if people were going to see negatively to have a story about killing Nazis and you want to have a Bethesda game, you could have put Prey, which by the way is an excellent game, and I don't understand why it wasn't very successful, but I believe that, well, to be completely honest, I didn't finish Wolfenstein 2 yet, so I cannot have an opinion like I would have like from Hellblade or Horizon or Automata. But I believe that for what I've said now, the story of the narrative of Prey is way better. But I believe that Hellblade is going to win here. Because the way of telling, it's not only the story, also the way of telling the story is also very original, very innovative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very new and refreshing, and those tend to be the titles that take the win here. So, and because it's not up against like something that has a massive diehard fan base like PUBG, I think that's a big contributing factor as to who will win on this one.
Mm-hmm. So, best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. So we have Destiny 2, Cuphead, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
I will be extremely shocked if Cuphead does not win this one. I am
sorry to disagree, because Cuphead is a really beautiful game, but the art direction is nothing compared to Horizon Zero Dawn, because the complexity of the art direction of Cuphead is only based on a couple of 3 sources, which is one typical style of animation of one typical moment, and didn't invent anything new. It's not, I wouldn't call it a copy, it's an inspiration, but this style also already existed when they invented the game. But in Horizon Zero Dawn, they created something completely new. They created the aesthetics of all the tribes based on philosophical and anthropological studies. It's not that they picked something that already existed and turned it into some sketches and did a game with that. The complexity of the art direction of Horizon, is on a different level of the other 4.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think with everybody praising, like the praising for what I've seen in the community for Cuphead, it seems limitless as to the praising of the artwork. Whenever I hear people talk about this particular category, it's always like, oh yeah, the art. And I don't think...
And it's beautiful.
I don't think Horizon is considered an artistic game in that same way. Like, it's beautiful to look at, but when people are thinking art, they tend to think more on like a snapshot 2D reference. And I love the robots in Horizon Zero Dawn. A lot of them are like, just the way that they did, the different types, the grazers and the herd mentality of it. That's really, really beautiful, and I think that's got a strong key in to win. But between the two, between Persona and Cuphead, I think when you take it from that idea, you can put up some art in like a museum or in a gallery and say which one really belongs here. And I think people tend to say either Cuphead or Persona 5, but I'm not positive on this one. This one's always a bit of a gimme.
But art direction is not that the game is beautiful. They are talking about creative and technical achievements in artistic design. Not only that the game is beautiful. Taking the animation of Walt Disney in the 50s and turn it into a video game may be very beautiful, but I don't see any kind of creative achievement in that.
But because it's open to public voting, I don't think most public voters know that.
Yeah, but it's 100% of the award decided by public voting.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's the way it goes.
I thought it was 50%.
I think it has a bit of an impact on it on top of what the judges like put in. So there's definitely runaway winners that can win, solely based off of a massive crowd of people. So.
Yes, I'm going to have to go with Cuphead too, just because of the overall achievement in like hand animating every sprite of a game in that way. I would consider an artistic achievement for a game because it's not an economical way to animate things. So
well, that's true.
They sacrificed convenience or they sacrificed economy in some ways for the sake of the art form. And so that's why I would give my vote to Cuphead, and also I predict that it will be the winner. Horizon Zero Dawn, I think that a lot of the artistic things that you identify in that are a little more nuanced, maybe not things that a lot of people are going to necessarily notice and appreciate.
Also, and this is a big component to this one, is that that the games that win these categories, I don't think are ever really a trying to look photorealistic. None of those games tend to win because it doesn't last from year to year. So the vote tends to go to something that is stylized. So in that case, I think the stylized will carry over something that's based on a more photorealistic thing, and that will continue to happen until we break that threshold of photorealistic to and we find that perfect mix. So it's interesting for this one. I think we might also get surprised by Zelda win, but I kind of doubt it. I kind of think either Persona 5 or Cuphead will take this one.
All right, so best musical score. Cuphead.
Okay.
Sorry. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and/or licensed soundtrack. So the contenders are Destiny 2, Cuphead, Nier Automata, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Persona 5. And I immediately go to Cuphead just because the second I loaded up that game and heard that Barbershop Quartet original song that plays at the beginning of the game, I just was blown away. So I just think it has one of the most unique and very well done soundtracks. It's a completely original jazz music score throughout the entire game, and so there's great music in a lot of these other games, and so I haven't seen enough Mario Odyssey to really know what the music is like throughout the game, but I think that one could be a major contender as well. But based on its uniqueness, I'm predicting Cuphead will take it.
Queen, what about you?
Well, to be completely honest, I don't know why Mick Gordon is not into this list, because the soundtrack of Wolfenstein 2 is pretty good. It's really, really good. And, well, he already won past year with Doom, so that's probably the reason why they don't want him in every single Game Awards.
Yeah, but I wonder how they choose the nominees.
How?
Actually sure.
I don't know. But
that has to do with the judging panel. That is typically what gets it on there. They also look at other things. And for the other things that I'm pulling from this list is YouTube views. If you type in any of these soundtracks, I hate to burst your bubble there, Ash, but most people are not middle-aged dads who really enjoy jazz. So in the...
Did you just call me middle-aged?
Sorry.
You son of a bitch.
Sorry, you're not middle-aged. But as far as what is listened to the most on YouTube right now, Nier Automata. And when I look at the comments in videos that have playlists and stuff like that, it's like people fangasming over this one. So I really think Nier Automata is going to take this one.
Okay. And
right.
And I think Madqueen's voting for Wolfenstein, even though it's not on the list.
Yeah, I would, I would, but I believe that I would also vote for Cuphead.
All right.
Even though I know that Manaka Kataoka is also a great, very loved composer, and Zelda is going to be competing really close with Zelda, but I believe that Cuphead is going to win.
All right, best audio design, and so this is the other aspect of audio, I guess, not music, but audio and sound effects design. We've got Destiny 2, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Resident Evil 7, Super Mario Odyssey, and Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And I'm gonna cast my prediction for Resident Evil 7 because of just the sheer importance of the sound effects in a horror game. Can make or break the game.
Sound effects in a horror story are important, but Hellblade is basically, and 80% of the emotional part of the game is based on sounds, because Senua is constantly hearing the other aspects of her in voices in her head, and the way that this is made is, I believe, that is very new and is very innovative. And even though it's important, sound design is very important in a horror game, I believe that Hellblade, my vote here goes for Hellblade, for the complexity in all the audio design of the game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a toss-up between those two.
Well, you could very well be right. I mean, I haven't played Hellblade.
Oh, you should. It's a very good game.
Sorry, what's your vote, Saib? Or your prediction?
One of those two. It's really hard to pick, but I think probably Hellblade might take that one. I think Hellblade will take that one. I don't think enough people have been playing Resident Evil yet to go for that one.
All right, so best performance in voice acting, motion, and or performance capture. I have no idea for this one.
This one
go with Ashley Birch because she's awesome.
I believe that Senua is going to take this award, because in Uncharted and Wolfenstein, the complexity of the characters in terms of performance is not very complex. Any actor with talent can do so.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley Birch she's also great as Aloy, but again, the complexity, even it's a little bit more complex than, for instance, Blazkowicz Wolfenstein. But I believe that Hellblade is the character that is more difficult to portray. So, as achievement for an actor, I believe that Hellblade deserves this award.
Yeah, Hellblade's going to take this one because it's also reinforcing what Hollywood is basically demanding of video games to reinforce, is that it's performance capture. And they use performance capture in this one. That's the main core theme of it. So yeah, so Hellblade will definitely take this category.
All right, so next we're on to games for impact, for a thought-provoking game with a profound pro-social meaning, or I thought that said massage for a second, a pro-social massage. I would love my video games to give me a pro-social massage. But anyway, interpret that as you will. All right, so the nominees for this category: Please Knock on My Door, Night in the Woods, Life is Strange Before the Storm, Bury Me, My Love, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. And wow, I haven't played any of these.
I think for this one, in this category, because a couple of these are really kind of out of the blue, and very few people even know what they are, let alone have played them. I think that this one will probably end up falling to Life is Strange, or Hellblade. I think more likely Hellblade than Life is Strange. So yeah, I'll say Hellblade probably most likely, and that's probably the way it's going to go.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking those two as well, actually. Leaning a little more toward Life is Strange, just because I had heard more about it. But with the way that you two are talking up Hellblade, I'm kind of leaning toward that. But maybe, just to be different, I'll go with Life is Strange.
That's probably a good idea, because it's got a good chance to win too. So.
Well, I'm going to go for Hellblade, because, well, Life is Strange, I mean, I understand that this is a positive message, but it's too regular life orientated. I don't know how to say that. All of them, the rest of them are like regular life orientated, and I am so happy that for once a game is so focused on mental health issues, on real, deep, and serious mental health issues. And I believe that this is a very important subject that we should normalize to talk about that. And I believe that Hellblade is doing a great job in that, exactly.
And those types of games are often not done well. And so if this one is done well...
It's done well. And actually, if you read all the complete credits at the end of the game, you will see that they have a lot of psychologists and staff to do it, to portray her psychosis the best way possible. And it's amazing.
It's very true. Games that can help people understand what it's like to live with these kinds of conditions are, I think, very helpful, because I don't think you could ever capture it completely, but...
Yeah, it's a perspective thing.
I think to bring an understanding of it, or at least some compassion, understanding that, we don't fully understand.
Yes, because, for instance, Life is Strange is what it is to be a teenager, and What Remains of Edith Finch is also a family story, but Hellblade is something that you are, well, more likely not to have to experiment that for yourself. Well, with luck, maybe you do. But it's better if the stories are around things that you won't experiment yourself, but helps you create some empathy for the people that does.
Okay, so next, Best Ongoing Game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. And for this, we have Warframe, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Grand Theft Auto Online, Destiny 2, and PUBG.
So out of these games, the one that I have enjoyed coming back to the most was probably Warframe, because it was really cool to catch up with it, to see how it had really evolved, and then also to see their open world stuff. It was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. But I think this one's probably going to go on to PUBG. Mainly due to the cascading and high number of votes, and then also how that game really has like progressed constantly, and has evolved, is in the process of evolving very, very quickly. So when it comes to ongoing games, I think people will probably end up siding with that one. And I think because it's not going to have picked up a couple other categories just due to the strong competition, I think this one is where it'll probably get its, like, this will probably be its best field, I think.
I'm guessing PUBG's going to take it as well. I'm a little surprised to see Overwatch and GTA Online on here, considering how not recent they are, but...
Well, Overwatch had the Game of the Year past year, so I believe that's one of the main reasons to put it here. And I vote for Destiny 2, but because I liked it. But I believe that is Battlegrounds, the one who's going to win this category.
Oh, yeah, so we're all in agreement on that.
Destiny 2 has had a lot of negative press in the last few days, so it is definitely not going to pick this one up.
That's why I said I voted because I like the game, but I know that it's not going to win.
I'm a little surprised that Fortnite's not on the list.
It hasn't been stellar in its in its upkeep of the single player, or sorry, of the traditional version, and then the battle royale version has been picking up massive steam lately, but only in the last 2 weeks. So a little bit before this consideration, I think. So because it is cruising. Oh my goodness, is it cruising? But you're right. It's a little weird to not see it in, but the reason for that is because that's a very recent thing. And I mean, I think Fortnite's going to get a lot of accolades next year, probably. So, but we'll see.
Okay, best mobile game. For the best game playable on a dedicated mobile device. So Fire Emblem Heroes, Super Mario Run, Old Man's Journey, Monument Valley 2, and Hidden Folks.
Well, to be completely honest, we have a lot of interesting options in here. I believe that Super Mario Run is going to win because it's the most famous, but Hidden Folks is a very interesting game, and the art of this game is pretty lovely. It reminds me a little of Waldo, I think it's called in for Americans, Waldo. The style of the word's Waldo. And Monument Valley, this Chinese, I believe it's Chinese, this game. The art of this game is also very innovative, and not the typical thing that's recently that is now developed for mobiles. And Old Man's Journey, this is a mobile game that is inspired on a short animation feature that was made some years ago that had the peculiarity that was done in oil paintings. Every single frame was painted in oil. And they made the animation with that, and now they have a mobile game. So Fire Emblem and Super Mario are like in a different category because these two are pretty regular games. As I said, I believe that Super Mario is the one that is going to win because of the popularity of the character, but I believe that Old Man's Journey would be the better one here.
Yeah, so are they going to go for artistic and, innovative, or are they going to go for, popularity and recognizability?
I think in this particular case, I think you're right. I think Old Man's Journey deserves a lot more credit than it'll probably get. But I mean, having gotten on the list, I mean, that's pretty good in and of itself, considering this category, because this is a massive, massive category, and there's so very little awards set for mobile gaming in and of itself. in this one, I'll say Fire Emblem Heroes because I just hear more people talking about it. It's like nonstop almost everywhere. When we are talking mobile games, it comes up a lot. So I think Fire Emblem will probably end up taking it. I actually just put this on my list to play on my mobile device because I was like, oh, hey, it's actually a little bit more to it than I thought it was. So, however, I also have to throw out a cheers for Hidden Folk because I didn't even realize that this was a game when I first encountered it. When I first encountered it, I was at my optometrist getting an eye checkup, and my doctor said, "Can you find me this?" And I looked and I'm like, "There it is." And they were like, "Oh, good. I've been looking for that one all day." So, anyways,
can't tell if you're joking or not.
That's a joke.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Fire Emblem Heroes as well, just because I think Super Mario Run, while it is interesting to have a Nintendo game on that's made for mobile, on the other hand, it's just another Mario game. So
yeah,
that's why I'm thinking Fire Emblem Heroes. We shall see. To the victor goes the spoils. Best handheld game. For the best game playable on a dedicated portable gaming system. So for best handheld game, we have Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, Monster Hunter Stories, Metroid Samus Returns, Ever Oasis, and Fire Emblem Echoes Shadow of Valentia. Huh.
I'm going to go with Fire Emblem again on this one, just because of the mainstreamness. I don't think I said that right.
Mainstream.
I think Metroid is. I think it's good, but it's still been suffering from a bit of a bad rap from kind of the series kind of being poorly managed for the last couple of games. It's starting to get better, but I think there's still enough of a bad taste in some people's mouths that I think this one will be a wash this time, and I don't know enough about the Monster Hunter Stories and the Yoshi because that's really like kid level, and I don't play those games, and I haven't been hearing anything about them. So in that regard, again, I'll go with the one that carries most of the mainstream appeal, which will be the Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's really difficult to say because we don't do a ton of mobile gaming, so I'm gonna go with Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. That's just my gut. I don't really have anything to back it up. I know Yoshi's Woolly World was very popular, so. And
it does have that really cool art style too. So
yeah.
That's
sorry, you were saying Madqueen?
Well, if we are counting on the ratings of the people and the overall vision that people has of the game, I believe that Metroid is the one that is most loved of all five. It's true that Yoshi's had a great art, but in here we're supposed to talk about how playable the game is. So how loved the game is, I believe that's going to be the most significant thing to account for when we're talking about who's going to win here. So I believe that Metroid is going to win this category. Even though I personally I would aim for Monster Hunter Story, which is a game for kids, but it's highly enjoyable and it's very easy to play. But yes, if we count on popular vote, I believe it's going to be Metroid.
Okay, fair enough. So we're on to best VR or AR game. Oh, they've extended it to augmented reality.
Yeah.
For the best game experience playable in a virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platforms. So we have Superhot VR, Star Trek Bridge Crew, Lone Echo / Echo Arena, Farpoint, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
What the fuck is doing Farpoint in this category? I mean, this game has some serious technical issues, but serious. Yeah. I mean, it affects the playability. It's not like Resident Evil. It's a well done game that you can either like or dislike. But Farpoint, they really need some patches. Serious patches.
I think this is one of these categories where, like anything else in this field, there's a lot of games out in this field right now that suffer from the same problem. not only suffer from that, but they also suffer from just very few numbers of people playing them.
Well, because the system is pretty new, but I believe that in the future it's going to have more acceptance. But what I can't believe is the list they've made. I remember playing a game that was very similar to Lone Echo. It wasn't the same game, but I suppose it was the same developer, that was set in space. And it was amazing. I can't remember the name, but I'm shocked that it's not in the list because it's way better than Farpoint. And I didn't know that Superhot had a VR version.
Yeah, that's been fairly new in and of itself, and it's gotten pretty good reception from what I've heard, but it still is kind of more or less the same old. It didn't really... there's nothing superly unique about it. It's very similar to a lot of other VR titles that are out there with just that super hot kind of time slow mechanic, which is, again, really cool. But
yeah.
Ultimately, I have to give this one to Star Trek Bridge Crew, because not only is it built for VR, I mean, that game really, really is just absolutely built for VR. It's also has strong multiplayer capability, and then it's also getting more and more polished. When we first saw the first sneak peeks for it, it's where some of these other games are currently. It's oh yes, really early build, but now this is definitely smooth. It's been really cleaned up, and apparently I have not played it yet with other people, but apparently, as far as it goes, multiplayer is a ton of fun. So I think this one takes it for me. The other ones, I think they're pushing that boundary, but because this is such a new field, I think most everything's got a little ways to go. But I really think that Star Trek Bridge Crew kind of pulls this one out here. So
I'm torn between that one and Lone Echo, because Lone Echo really had some innovative mechanics to it. The pushing and pulling movement mechanic I found fascinating. So yeah, I'm torn.
That's because you're a Trekkie, or?
No, because I agree with Saib that Bridge Crew was really built for VR, and I think it has a good chance of taking this category.
My brother is the one with the VR setup, and he's got a really dedicated setup for it. And basically, from what I hear, and when I go over there and I play, it's when I play, I see, stuff like Star Trek Bridge Crew. I see that in the future. Lone Echo makes too many people dizzy still, I think, the core problem with VR.
Fair enough. So I will go with Star Trek Bridge Crew as well.
Well, then I'm going to be the one who disagrees in here, because I'm going to go for Resident Evil 7 if we're talking about game experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, horror-themed stories always provide the best game experience, if you like the theme, obviously. And I have a friend, he's a police officer. He worked in night shifts for the longest years. And he's seen some serious real shit in life, but even though he's still scared playing Resident Evil 7, that's how scary this is. And the atmosphere of the game is just amazing, and playing it in VR is it's an amazing experience. In terms of what it is experience, for instance, you mentioned in Lone Echo that the good thing about this game is that it had some innovative features, but when we're talking about an in-game experience, I think that nothing can beat horror games.
Fair enough. All right. So moving on, best action game. Best game in the action genre, focused on combat. So we've got Prey. Oh, it's so good to see that one made the list somewhere. Neo, Destiny 2, Cuphead, and Wolfenstein 2.
I think in this case, Cuphead's got a strong case to win, but because this is kind of more, I think in this category, more people tend to associate this one with gameplay, and I think a lot of people don't like the gameplay in Cuphead. So I'm going to throw this one to, because I don't think it's going to win in any other category, unfortunately, I think Destiny 2 will probably take this spot. But Cuphead's my easy second on this one.
Yeah. I'm going to vote Prey.
You have good taste.
I don't know if it's just hopeful thinking. That's definitely the one that I would be voting for, or that I am voting for. But it had really interesting combat mechanics, so I'm going to go with that one.
Well, actually, in the list of these 5, I believe that Prey and Neo are 2 that are more original, because Cuphead is original in terms of art, but it's not very original in terms of gameplay.
Not really.
In terms of gameplay, yeah. I mean, it's a typical shooting platformer. It's fantastic, but it's not terribly original in terms of just the combat mechanics.
Wolfenstein 2 is great, but it's just a typical shooter, and I'm totally okay with that, but it's not to give an award for that. Destiny 2, it's also great fun. Neo's pretty original, but in here I would vote for Prey. And actually, one of the things that I liked the most about Prey in terms of gameplay is that the game plays with things that you believe are going to happen because you are used to. So, for instance, there are some things on the game that are based that you are expecting bugs from Bethesda, and this is true. If you play the game, there are a couple of things that gives you a surprise, because at first you think it's a bug and you just say, well, it's a Bethesda game, this is going to be a bug, and then it isn't. And I found that like really funny and really original. So I'm going with Prey in this category.
It's Arcane though, like it wasn't developed by Bethesda.
No, but people think the moment that it starts with the logo of Bethesda, people assume it's going to have bugs. That by the way, I didn't encounter none.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. All right, so on to Best Action Adventure Game. We've got Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Assassin's Creed Origins, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Horizon Zero Dawn.
In this one, I think Horizon's going to take this one, if not Zelda. I think that Assassin's Creed is too new, and that most people don't take Assassin's Creed to be that kind of like action adventure series, because it's not traditionally it doesn't really fit super well into that general category. So in this one I'm going to give it to most likely Horizon Zero Dawn, but I think there's a good chance that Zelda might sneak it too. But it's
odd because in this category we have 4 massively known IPs and then a new one.
Right.
And everybody knows Uncharted, Assassin's Creed, Zelda, Mario. Everybody knows that. But I believe I'm going to give my vote to Horizon Zero Dawn, because I believe that it's the best action game, and we are starting to get a little bored with Assassin's Creed. And I don't know what the rest of the gamers of the world think, but I was expecting a little bit more originality in this one. People seem to like it. It's not. I didn't play it myself. I watched it on stream, on Twitch. But I don't know what was I expecting, but it wasn't what it delivers. And Uncharted is always the same old shit. Sorry, bud.
Well, I would definitely be casting my vote for Assassin's Creed Origins, but I think Horizon Zero Dawn is going to take the category.
Yeah, I think again we have the same problem with the awards, that Zelda and Mario are kind of they're kind of splitting the vote. As far as the public vote goes on it, between those two things. And because of that, I think the fan base and the selection of Horizon Zero Dawn will become much, much more prevalent. Whereas Uncharted is just like most other Uncharted games, and Assassin's Creed is pretty much just like every other Assassin's Creed game. With some improvements this time around, but a little bit too new, I think. So, yeah.
One of the worst things of having a popular vote is that popularity not always has something to do with quality.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's the way she goes.
Best role-playing game. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So we've got South Park, The Fractured But Whole, Final Fantasy XV, Divinity Original Sin 2, Nier Automata, and Persona 5.
So in this one, I think, like from the buzz that I hear, this is a real big toss-up between Persona 5 and Divinity Original Sin 2. And I feel, just because of the type of people that are on the judges panel, and then the way that the public is voting, I think Divinity Original Sin is going to grab it very narrowly from Persona 5. And I think all of the other titles in this one were all really good for what they were, but I don't think they are going to nab this particular one. I could be surprised, but I'd be very shocked if South Park gets it, because it had a lot of technical glitches that a lot of people complained about, and games that have a lot of technical glitches don't tend to win awards in these types of categories. Same thing with Final Fantasy, had a lot of issues and kind of drug on in some areas. So I think that hurts it. And then Nier, again, with it being out so earlier this year, and again with the story, not a lot of people really understood some of the deeper stuff in it. I think this one's going to go to Divinity. I definitely think Persona 5 deserves to win it too, because both of those games were really awesome. The thing that Divinity has over Persona 5 is you really don't have that much customization when it comes to Persona 5. Whereas you have like unlimited customization in Original Sin. You could play an undead dwarf, for crying out loud, or an alive dwarf, or a dragon, or a lizard, whatever.
Well, you make a very persuasive argument. I'm going to go with that one.
Well, I have my heart divided here between Divinity and Automata. Automata mostly for the story, but the level of customization is also an important part of a role-playing game. So yes, Divinity.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that if Nier had come with like a design your own, robot, that would have, clinched it, because then more options would have come with that. And the same thing with Persona 5. I think with Persona 5, if you had been able to kind of change up the main protagonist a little bit more, I think that's probably would have been good. But yeah.
All right, best fighting game. The best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. We got Tekken 7, Nidhogg 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Injustice 2, and ARMS.
Well, that's a pretty weird list, because I wouldn't consider Nidhogg 2 and ARMS a typical fighting game. I don't know why they put it into this category, because in ARMS you really, you fight against things, but it's not exactly the same type of fighting game that Tekken 7, but I don't know, weren't there more action, more fighting games to put in this list? And Marvel vs. Capcom is also, I don't know, I know they try their best to try to make a good game, I mean, but but it's not at the level of the rest. I mean, if you watch the gameplay, if you watch the graphics, it's like so past generation, and it's like they tried to achieve some kind of retro look to appeal for nostalgia, but the thing is that they didn't do an amazing job. I don't think that Marvel vs. Capcom deserves an award. I believe that in this list, the thing is between Injustice 2 and Tekken. To be fair, ARMS and Nidhogg, I'm not saying they're bad games. It's just that I don't understand what are they doing in this list.
Seeing that, I agree that they're kind of an odd choice for this list, and if with those two in the list, I'm very surprised Cuphead's not on the list. But I would agree that they don't exactly belong. Maybe they were just trying to fill out the category.
I have my heart divided between Injustice and Tekken 7.
Well, I don't. I'm going Injustice 2.
I would agree with you if it wasn't for micropayments.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, micropayments they taint everything these days, but in terms of the quality of the fighting, I don't know. I've heard lots of good things about it.
So it's because I'm sitting on this joke and I can't wait to say it. So Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite gets my vote for being the most spoiler game there is for an upcoming movie. Screw you for destroying the plot line, you bastard. In this particular case, though, I think with what they're trying to do with this category, and I think what they're trying to do in the industry, I think we're going to see a surprise win of ARMS here because of the multiplayer stuff that they're pushing with that game.
Huh.
And I know it sounds weird, but I hear so much. I hear a lot of people talking about how this is the direction of like where fighting games are going to go in the future, and I think Smash Brothers and Tekken style games, each in their kind of own little category, kind of have their place still. But I think ARMS is setting stuff up for the future, and because of that, I think the judges are going to sway this way because I haven't seen a new person play Tekken.
What do you mean with a new person?
Like if you haven't played Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or any of the extra ones that they've done, I really don't think that you're picking up Tekken 7 going, oh yeah, this looks like a great game, I'm going to go with this. So, and because their sales are so kind of down on both that one and then also Injustice and Marvel, I really think that those kinds of things are maybe splitting the vote, and that in this particular case, I think ARMS might make a surprise win. If they win, I'm going to call myself a genius, and if they lose, I'm going to say, well, I obviously had no idea what I was talking about here.
That's usually how it goes with you.
Yeah.
But in terms of fighting games, in terms of fighting mechanics, ARMS is a completely different game. And again, I don't understand. Yeah. I understand your point, but they should invent a new category for that, because fighting game are Tekken and Injustice and Marvel vs. Capcom. That's a fighting game.
Those are more traditional fighting games, but I mean the genre might be changing a bit too as technology advances.
Yes, but I don't want to lose my fighting games. I love them. I absolutely loved Injustice 1, and I absolutely loved the rest of Tekkens that I played.
And you love your VHS and 8-track collection as well there.
I am normally a big fan of Capcom games. Not that I buy them religiously, but I had some really good experiences with them as a kid, and because of that, I always kind of look fondly on them. But in this case, the Capcom Marvel one really I think they really kind of dropped the ball a bit. But then again, maybe I'm just being too critical, which probably am. So, anyways.
That's usually how it goes with you. All right, so best family game. Appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. So we've got Splatoon 2, Sonic Mania, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Super Mario Odyssey. What do you know? 4 out of 5 on Nintendo.
Well, Mario's going to win for sure. Which one? I don't know.
Mario will definitely win this one, and I think this one's going to go to Odyssey because I don't think it has a good chance in most of the other categories it's been in up till this one. So I think this one will take the cake, even though I think the Mario Kart 8 is lots of fun, and I think the Rabbits was absolutely hilarious. I think in this case, Odyssey is going to pull ahead with this.
I think so too, yeah. Just because as an all-around game, it's not like a narrow genre like, Mario Kart is racing and Mario plus Rabbids, strategy, combat, etc. Super Mario Odyssey just as an all-around family adventure game. I can see, if I was playing a game with my kids, that's probably what they would enjoy the most out of any of these.
Yeah. And that's where it kind of falls down to in this particular category. So I think that's
2 votes for Odyssey. Madqueen, you were waffling.
Well, I can't have an opinion in here because I didn't play a family-friendly game since I was a kid. So I didn't play any of the 5 here. That's why I say, well, Mario is going to win, but I can't in here. I just can't have an opinion because I didn't open any of these games. I didn't play for even 5 minutes. I love the rabbits, but it's the only thing that I can say in here. So my vote goes for Mario, one of the 3.
Well, you got to pick one. Or I'm putting you down for Sonic.
Then I'm going for Splatoon, just to be original.
Splatoon, okay. All right, best strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. We have XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Tooth and Tail, which I've never even heard of. Looks interesting. Total War, Warhammer 2, Halo Wars 2, and Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
I don't know how close the Warhammer game is to the original Warhammer role-playing game, because I played the role-playing game just a little, but these are games that are known for having a very hard strategy. So I believe that maybe Warhammer 2 will deserve, but Halo Wars 2 will win.
I don't think Halo Wars will win because it's not been critically received very well, and there's not a rabid fan base for it either. So in this case, I think it's going to go to kind of something else, and the options go. Tooth and Tail is great from what I hear, but it's too small to win in this category. It's too unknown, and that's in some cases that makes it a good choice. But as far as reception goes, XCOM 2 was very well received, and I think Wario. I keep wanting to say Wario.
Wario.
The Rabbids.
Wario and Wabbids.
I think
can be that guy from Big Bang Theory who hasn't been on the show in far too long. Kripke, that's his name. Wario and Wabbids Kingdom Battle. All right.
I think that's going to take the cake on this one, and XCOM's my number 2 for this category. So. Yeah.
I was thinking one of those two as well. I'm thinking XCOM.
I could be shocked with the fan base that the Warhammer fan base is very, very, very dedicated and loyal. So that one it might pull out a win there too. But I think in this case, I think Mario's going to take it. I think Nintendo is going to sweep a lot of. I think they're going to do really well. I don't think they're going to do as well as some people thought, because they could win almost every single award. That's insane, isn't it? But anyways.
All right. For the best time to take a nap category. Oh, sorry. Best sports/racing game. We've got Project.
This will be when I'm running. When we're watching this live, I'm going to go probably grab a drink and some more food or something during this one. So.
Well, actually, at the beginning of the podcast, when I said that we were going to make the whole ceremony, I was thinking, well, when they talk about racing game, it's my moment to eat some popcorn, because I won't be able to eat in the rest or so. Because I'll have nothing interesting to say.
It'll be that very rare occasion where Madqueen has nothing to say. So, okay, we got Project Cars 2, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, NBA 2K18, GT Sport, Forza Motorsport 7, and FIFA 18. Oh boy, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I know who's not going to take it, and it's going to be NBA 2K, because I believe that on this list is the most hated game of this list.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I imagine it's going to be one of the racing games.
I think you're right on that one. I don't think it's going to, like, FIFA 18 and then Pro Evolution 18, they're both soccer games. So you're splitting the vote on people who are fans of soccer games. So
right, and I mean, I guess you could sort of say the same about the 3 car racing games, but I'm thinking, okay, refresh my memory, was Forza the one where they showed that trailer of, like, heisting the car out of a moving truck? Was that the one?
Yes, they put it in E3.
Yeah. Okay.
There was this woman that was a racer introducing, and they also presented a new Porsche that was going to be the game.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go with that one for those reasons, because it was featured so heavily at E3, and it looked interesting. I mean, a car heist is obviously
exactly my thoughts. I'm with you on this one.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that it's been marketed, I think they've done a really, really good job with the marketing, considering what it is. And I think in this particular case, this one will win because there's more to do it than to just do what you normally do in these kinds of games. And I think normally FIFA is a strong pick, but I think in this case we're seeing some heavy competition from Pro Evolution, and because of that, I think that's going to split that vote a little bit. So I think Forza is going to win this one, because it's also evolved more than any of the other ones on the list. So,
well, I suppose I need to have a vote in here. So I'm also divided between Forza Motorsport and FIFA. And the thing about FIFA is that this new FIFA has a lot of improvement in technical improvements in this new version, and they also using the motion capture that everybody is using now, but at least they really look like the real athletes they are paying the license for, which is more difficult to do with the face of a person than with a car. And in Forza, they are also, and Forza in GT Sport, they are also licensing a lot of brands of cars. But I believe that for technical reasons, FIFA is going to win in here.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a good pick.
All right,
alrighty.
The best multiplayer. We've got Fortnite. There's Fortnite. Call of Duty World War II, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Destiny 2, and the unreleased wonder, PUBG.
I think in this case, PUBG is going to take this one, although I kind of wish that Fortnite would win this one. And it could be that they get a string of votes because of all the positive, stuff that they're doing, and the fact that they're just steaming ahead here. So I think Fortnite is a strong possibility, but I think PUBG will probably end up taking it just because more people are talking about it, and it's a higher consideration than some of the other ones lately, and I think it's really close for it to really impact. I think if this was 3 weeks later, I think Fortnite would probably grab it, but yeah.
No, I agree. PUBG.
Well, I'm divided here between Battlegrounds and Call of Duty because they both have very dedicated fan base. So in terms of a vote, they are these two games have this kind of fans that would obsessively vote again for the games they like. So, well, I believe that Battlegrounds is going to win this one. Yeah. Just for even if, as we said in the beginning, it's not been officially released yet, which is why I'm a little surprised that is in this year's awards to start with. But yeah, I believe Battlegrounds.
I mean, it's really it's an issue of some, like, not semantics, but it's kind of just an issue of, even though it hasn't technically been released, it's released. It's out there. You can get it and play it. So it's like literally released, but not like officially released, whatever that means. So, all right. So most anticipated game. So awarded to an upcoming game that has shown significant ambition and promise. Title must be announced and scheduled for release after December 7th, 2017. So where the hell is Cyberpunk and Death Stranding?
You need a release date.
You need an actual release date?
Yeah.
Oh,
you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not just like... Okay, I was thinking that meant we know it's coming out after December 7th, which we know both of those are. I doubt either one's going to be like, surprise, the game is here.
Yeah. No, in this case, these are games that are definitely going to be out next year that have not had, that aren't going to be surprise announced, which I know we're going to have some surprise announcements for 2018, but we won't get to those until probably like E3 or later this year. So as far as these games, a lot of these games are really good. Shout out to God of War. I love...
Wait a minute. You didn't read the list.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. The Last of Us Part 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Monster Hunter World, Marvel's Spider-Man, and God of War.
So God of War, I'm going to throw out a shout out. The reason why I think that game deserves to win, which it won't, but why I think it deserves to win is Christopher Judd is an amazing voice actor, and he's like the next Morgan Freeman. Like, that guy could dialogue and narrate anything, and it would be amazing. But in the case of this, I think that the hype is really going to be focused around Red Dead.
I was going to say, let me see if I can anticipate where you're going with this, because I was going to say, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, right?
Yeah, I think the power of people waiting to play this title is just massive because it's been waited for so long. You can say the same thing for Last of Us 2. But unfortunately, The Last of Us has found itself with some negative press recently, and I think that impacts where these votes go. Mm-hmm. So I think unfortunately we won't see The Last of Us 2 win this one, even though it's probably a good chance it'll win. Spider-Man is the other one where like that game looks amazing, but again, I hear a lot of negativity when people are like, QuickTime events. I'm tired of QuickTime events. I don't want QuickTime events. So because we haven't seen how it plays yet, I don't think it's got the groundswell to win.
Yeah, QuickTime events, that's the one thing I hated about the Fractured But Whole was the QuickTime events. And these things, QuickTime events are bullshit. Come on, people. Get more creative with your game mechanics. It's just nonsense. Like, don't force me to do arbitrary things with my controller and then try to fool me into thinking I'm playing a game. That's not how it works. Yeah, God of War, I think, would be a major contender if it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive. I've got to go for Red Dead Redemption 2.
I remember not long ago, before the Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced. Well, I didn't play Red Dead Redemption the first until the Game of the Year edition went out, and I was talking to a friend, and I said, no, I don't have the regular edition. I have the Game of the Year edition, and my friend said, oh, that was a very bad year then. I know a huge amount of people who doesn't like Red Dead Redemption, and maybe the ones to do are the ones that are more noisy about it. But then you talk with the rest of the gamers that doesn't write reviews on the internet, and I don't see that is that anticipated. And I believe it's a great game, and there are a huge amount of people who are really willing to work to play the second part. But I believe that in this category, a game like Spider-Man has more chances to win, because this is the kind of game that not only the gaming community is anticipating it, but also people who usually don't play a lot of video games. But we're talking about Spider-Man, that is one of the most loved comic book characters, and also very successful in films, even though they are quite shitty, some of them. But still, really successful. It's the kind of game where not only gamers want to have it. So I believe that Spider-Man is the one who's going to win in this one. Even though I would rather Last of Us.
I would normally agree, but I think it's got the same problem that God of War does, and that's exclusives. Exclusives very rarely win due to the fact that such a smaller portion of the gaming population actually plays them.
Well, Horizon Zero Dawn is also a Sony exclusive, and I don't believe their sales agree. Because even if the game is available for different platforms, that doesn't mean that everybody that uses that platform will play it.
Yeah, no, or the fact that like I don't own a PlayStation, I still in big support of Horizon Zero Dawn, but in this particular case, because this is like most anticipated, I think that affects the voting numbers a little bit differently. So and that's why I think it's going to go for Red Dead Redemption 2, or quite possibly The Last of Us 2. So,
well, I believe that these kind of exclusive games are great console sellers. Actually, I bought the PlayStation 4 for the Bloodborne. I was very happy with my Xbox, but Bloodborne was a Sony exclusive, so I had to buy the PlayStation 4.
That's fair, but it's only PlayStation players or people who are willing to buy a PlayStation 4 that are going to be anticipating Spider-Man and God of War.
Don't confuse people who are anticipating the game with people that will actually buy it.
Well, I'm thinking so they're anticipating just watching it on stream or something?
Yes. There's a lot of people that you can hear that they are excited for games, and then the game is out and they don't buy it. They watch it on stream, they comment about it, but they don't buy it and play.
You make a fair point.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with Red Dead Redemption 2, though, and my second choice would be Last of Us Part 2. But anyway, on to one of my favorite categories. Best Indie Game. We've got Pyre, Night in the Woods, Cuphead, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
For indie games, I'm going to throw this one to Hellblade. I think Cuphead's got a good chance to win it too, but I think in this case Hellblade will, because it's also like you're surprised by it, right? You can look at Cuphead and say, oh, this was made by an indie studio, and you go, oh, of course it was. You can look at Night in the Woods and Pyre and all of those ones, and you say, oh yeah, these are made by small studios, and most everybody will go, oh, that's amazing. then you take Hellblade and you say this was made by an indie studio, and you go, really? Wow, that's impressive, because it appears to be bigger than what you might think it is. So I think Hellblade will probably grab this one, and I think that Cuphead's a good second choice.
Okay, Madqueen,
Well, I believe that. I agree that Hellblade is an indie game that looks like a AAA, but we should remember that What Remains of Edith Finch has also a great quality, a great visual quality. But the thing is that Hellblade is like more known. I don't know why people doesn't know What Remains of Edith Finch. Hellblade's story, I also find it myself more attractive for the kind of for the style of games that I like, and also the combat was amazing. Was so amazing. It was like Dark Souls, but well done. Amazing.
And she smacks down Dark Souls.
Sorry?
Shots fired.
She gives shots fired.
Well, Dark Souls is a great game, but sometimes I believe that the gameplay and mostly the button combinations for the combat system is thought. So it's made it's harder to beat on purpose. If they had the gameplay that is as smooth as Senua's Sacrifice, more people would be playing Dark Souls. Because it would be hard, but not impossible without a feeling, like your fingers are not responding. It's the feeling of it has some mechanics that I simply don't understand what kind of sociopath designed that.
See, and this is
mic drop.
My vote's for Hellblade. Most probably Cuphead will win, but my vote's for Hellblade.
I think Hellblade's going to win this one.
So you're predicting Cuphead or Hellblade?
I'm predicting Hellblade.
You're going to predict Hellblade? See,
Yes.
I'm torn between Hellblade and Cuphead as well, because while Hellblade certainly is an impressive-looking indie game, Cuphead had more hype for a longer time, so I'm going to go with Cuphead. Right. I'm doing that very hesitantly, though, just because I feel like maybe Hellblade will take it, but Cuphead is kind of the obvious choice, I guess. So we'll see. And strictly based on votes, like I don't know if the Hellblade fans would vote in as massive numbers as necessarily the Cuphead fans. It's really hard to say, but okay, this is interesting. Best student game. Awarded the best student project created at the high school or college level. So we've got Meaning, Level Squared, Impulsion, Falling Sky, Hollowed, and From Light. And I'm going to have to make my pick based on just what's in the screenshot here, because I have no idea. I've never heard of any of these.
Well, yeah. Me neither.
Were these games... Were they released on Steam or anything like that? Like, were they actually distributed, or is it kind of a?
I don't know, Devin. I think that Falling Sky in this list is the only one that's been distributed, but I am not sure. I may be wrong on this.
You know what? There's not even an option to vote here. I just realized. It's a
these ones are, some of the stuff is going to be the jury's pick on this stuff. So.
All right. So just for fun, let's pick a winner. Level Squared looks really interesting. I mean, it's hard to tell what exactly it's about, but it looks like a puzzle game, and I do like a good puzzle game.
I am going to go on this one. I'm going to go for Implosion. I think is gonna take it on this one.
Okay.
If not Implosion, my backup would be Falling Sky, but I think Implosion will take it, and then Falling Sky is a good second.
All right, what do you think, Madqueen?
I don't know. I would cast my vote for Falling Sky because it's the only one that I've seen anything about. Because I never saw anything about the rest, but Impulsion, it looks good. Yeah, I'm voting for Impulsion.
Okay.
And French people, they usually know what they're doing.
Unless it comes to war.
I was going to say, you're lucky we're not British, or we probably have something to say about that. Okay, trending gamer for a streamer, influencer, or media member who's made an important impact on the industry this calendar year. We've got
Yeah, they made such an important impact that I don't even know any of these people.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one. Okay.
Unlike Boogie last year, who in this one, I had the same problem. Because I looked at the list and I was like, I don't know any of these people, like, at all.
Yes.
But what I do know is that out of all of them, I don't know. You guys make your picks first, because then I'll make my pick, because I don't want to give away my data here.
Okay, Andrea Renee, obviously. Well, I gotta read the names here. Steven Spahn, or Spone, from Able Gamers. Mike Grz. Oh, I hate mispronouncing names. Grisk?
Tsiek.
I'm sorry. Grisk?
Yeah. Sergio Way, but I believe that is not Russian. Okay, forget it. I'm not going to teach anyone pronunciation.
Mike G from Shroud. Guy Beam, Dr. Disrespect. Clint Lexa, Half Coordinated, and Andrea Renee from What's Good Games. Well,
so imagine the impact these people have, that the only person on this list I have heard before is Andrea Renee, and I thought she talked about a technology, not games. So, go figure.
Well, I'm thinking either Clint Lexa or Andrea Renee. And I'm going to go with Andrea Renee because, I mean, hot girl, obviously, good choice. But then again, Clint Lexa from Half Coordinated.
I'm going to go for Andrea Renee because I know she talks about technology. And look, she also talks about video games. But I believe that both subjects are very close. So it's great that someone that is into gaming is also interested in the technology that is needed to create and enjoy this gaming. So my vote's for her.
All right, so as far as this boils down to, this is going to boil down to basically popularity contest amongst voters quite strongly. And I think the one who's got his followers, or her followers, really, really motivated on this is probably going to be Dr. Disrespect.
Okay.
And it's just because he's got rabid fans, and also he's got he's got an enormous amount of content, whereas Shroud, he's got fans, but they're esports fans, so it's a little bit different. And the others in the category, they're all good, but I think in this case the rabid, very loyal fans are going to take this one. Renee is close. But she's just not big enough yet. I think she's still really, really new, which is what, I mean, this covers. But it's like, it's the difference between, a couple 100,000 subs makes a huge difference between this and that.
Okay, that's where I know him from. Clint Lexa. I knew he sounded familiar, but I saw him. He ran Nier Automata at SGDQ 2017. It was one of the first runs that they did in the event. He is paralyzed on one side of his body. He can only use one hand. So he ran Nier Automata one-handed. I knew he sounded familiar.
Now I know him. Yeah.
Half Coordinated, Clint Lexa. Okay. I'm changing my prediction. I'm going with Clint Lexa. Sorry, what was yours? What was yours again, Madqueen?
Andrea Renee.
And Saib, you're going with Dr. Disrespect, Guy Beam. Okay. All right, just so we can make sure that we know whose noses to rub in their failed predictions. Let's move on to best esports game. For that game that has delivered the best overall esports experience, blah, blah, blah. We all know what an esports game is. So, Rocket League is still on the list. Wow, okay. League of Legends, Dota 2.
Well, Dota, you gotta remember, Dota 2 and League of Legends are both way older than Rocket League. So.
Yeah.
True, but I haven't heard anything about Rocket League in ages, so I was just like...
Its popularity has been taking a bit of a dive recently.
So Rocket League, League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and Overwatch. None of these are new games.
No, they're not.
But I guess most esports games aren't, so I guess that makes sense. So,
Rocket League.
I'm going to go with League of Legends this time, because they have picked up a little bit, and... I feel that Overwatch has been stagnating a little bit, and then Rocket League has been really stagnating, unfortunately. Dota 2 is, I don't think they've had a sizable increase in their player base for a very long time. And I'm really surprised CSGO is on this list. Frankly, I'm really shocked that it's on this list. But, CSGO, not to say it's bad, it's just I honestly thought there were other esport games that were outranking it by now. But I'm pretty wrong on that. So.
But League of Legends and Dota 2, they always need to be in that list because they are still huge games for esports. I believe that League of Legends is going to win because, well, it's League of Legends and it's a huge game for esports. I would rather that Rocket League does. And by the way, it had new things recently. New antennas with Rick and Morty, for instance.
Rick and Morty, I guess,
That's probably gonna clinch it then. Stick Rick and Morty stuff in your game.
Yes.
Clinch all the awards. All right. So best esports player. We've got Kurokai Salehi Takasomi, Team Liquid for Dota 2. Ji-Hong Ryu for Seoul Dynasty. That they play Overwatch. Nikola Kovac, FaZe Clan, Counter-Strike Go. Marcelo David, SK Gaming, Counter-Strike Go. And Lee Sang-hyuk Faker. His nickname is Faker.
Yeah.
SK Telecom 1, League of Legends.
In here, I'm not objective. I think that Lee Sang is going to make
pick.
it in here. Apart from being a hot Korean guy, he's really skilled in League of Legends. He's really, really good. Very technical. It was between him or Ji-Hong, but I believe that Lee Sang
I think Lee is going to win this one for sure.
I think so too, just because I think he's the only one I've ever heard of. So,
and
he's really technical, and people appreciate that. And in a game that sometimes is so confusing, so confusing as League of Legends.
Yeah, fair enough. And then next we have best esports team. Team Liquid, SK Telecom 1, Lunatic High, FaZe Clan, and Cloud9. Oh man, I don't follow esports enough to have any opinions.
If
here.
Lee takes the award for his team, that is SK Telecom is going to be the one who's going to take this one. I mean, would be the most logical pick.
Very likely.
I'm gonna go with it. I'm going with SK Telecom because out of all of the teams that are present here, I have only ever had the ability to play friendly games, or I've never played a professional game. So I've only played friendly games with one of them, and I've only beat that one team just that once. So that would be SK. But to be fair, I think they were.
to be fair,
I don't think they were giving their all. I think they were having fun in a. And this was many years ago. It was before they actually branched out, became Telecom too. So this was just the original SK team. So, like, God, that makes me feel old when I'm like, oh yeah, that was almost a decade ago. Okay, yeah, that makes me feel old. So.
And he was calling me middle-aged earlier.
And that doesn't actually portray
not
anything
even close.
In my voting. I'm just picking one that I know in this case. Yeah.
The one you recognize? Yep, actually, the only one I've...
Yeah. When they were here, I did meet them at that event, and they were also super friendly. And really nice. And like I said, when they had some, fun games for fun and stuff like that, where, half the time, I mean, these guys were, signing autographs while playing. And so talk about picking on somebody who can't defend themselves. When a guy's signing a t-shirt that somebody else is wearing, it's really kind of hard to, avoid a gank. So anyways.
Best debut indie game. So this is, for an indie studio that released its first game in 2017. So we have Slime Rancher, Mr. Shifty, Hollow Knight, Golf Story, and Cuphead. I've heard really good things about Golf Story, and it's like a golf RPG, which is a very unique concept. I've heard well, one of my friends has been playing Hollow Knight and said he's really enjoying it.
It reminds me, not the gameplay and the story, but the style of the drawing. It reminds me a little to Salt and Sanctuary. It's really cute.
I hear a lot of good things about Slime Rancher, like constantly.
Well, it's obviously doing very well, but I watched some streams of it, and I didn't really see what all of the hype was about. But sometimes you actually have to play a game to realize why it's fun.
Yes, but it's I don't know. I saw that game maybe a little too family friendly for my taste. I don't want to sound like the typical
If I
elitist.
can't murder the slimes in an explosion of blood, I'm not interested.
I don't know. I will allow my kids to play that.
And Mr. Shifty, I've never heard of.
Yeah, no, Cuphead's going to take this one for sure. Like, I'm really positive on that one.
Yes.
Because, I mean, talk about success is the other part of it, is Cuphead had amazing success, where the only one that came close to that success level is Slime Rancher, so...
And then finally, Best Chinese Game. A fan-voted award to recognize the most popular game in China, as judged by the Game Awards viewers in China.
We do not get to vote on this one.
Get to vote on this one either, but... the picks are Monument Valley 2, JX3 HD.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that? I'm gonna just go with that. Gumballs, Icy, and King of Glory.
I'm just going to talk about this one because I'm pretty positive this is going to win. But Icy is an amazing game. First of all, its drawing and its art style is just gorgeous. Lighting effects and abilities are pleasant to watch, and it's a very, very smooth game to play. Boss mechanics are really, really good. You can become absolutely skilled at this game, like you can with others in the similar genre. And then on top of that, it's funny as all get out. It is seriously hilarious. So the creator of the game narrates it, and you can the narrator of the game will say things like, "Icy goes this way. She takes the path to the right," and you have the option to go in any direction. And you go north, and he goes, "Well, Icy clearly doesn't want to listen to the instructions because she's not going right. If you want to continue the game, go back and then make a right." And then you go into this area and you fall into an area that he hasn't finished drawing yet. And you're running around a white background with lines drawn all over the place. And he's like, "See, I told you." And he cracks it like a Coke can and starts eating. He's like, "I told you I wasn't done with this area yet. I don't know why you're here. You know, it's actually really difficult to make these games. Here, let me..." And he takes you on this thing. He takes you out of there and he loads up this other area. And he's like, "See, in this one, this is what I was thinking about doing here. And then I gave the character this really awesome weapon." And I was like, "Who would want this really awesome weapon?" I really think that, while he's eating this whole time, you can hear him eating in the background. It's hilarious. If you haven't picked this game or played this game, pick it up. And aside from the fact that it might be run out by JX3 or King of Glory because they've got a really, really high active player base in China, those could take it. But in the realm of what's really good and what's really popular, Icy has received a lot of awards, so I think it's a shoo-in to win here.
Fair enough. Yeah, sure, I guess I'll go with that one. Although JX3 is the only one that we can definitively say is in HD. But, yeah, I'll go with Icy based on what you've said. I have nothing else to go on. I mean, I haven't played any of these.
Well, I would go for Monument Valley. Mostly because I'm a fan of Escher. I absolutely adore the illustrations of Escher, and the game is based a lot on that. It's really beautiful. And the palette of colors remind me of No Man's Sky. Palette of colors is really similar to No Man's Sky. It's really a really beautiful game. And I believe that's more innovative than the rest of the list. So, Monument Valley 2.
Okay. And just to be different, I'm going to change mine to JX3.
Alrighty.
Because it is in HD. And that's the final category. So, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Augmented Reality podcast, taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week, or in this case, the upcoming news of the week. Those are our predictions for the Game Awards, the winners in all the categories. Thank you so much, Subsidian and Madqueen, for joining us today. Check out Madqueen's YouTube channel. She has tons of great content and lots of great info about Cyberpunk 2077. As always, this is a production of the Triple S League. If you appreciate this weekly content, you can support us by installing a free app through our GOTBox link. Tap the icon on your screen or check out the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon, or just head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. My name is Asheninity. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow at the Game Awards.